Like that lick? Hang around, I'm going to teach it to you. This video is entitled Tips, Tricks, and a Lick. That was just a lick you heard there. It's just a combination of a bunch of things. I actually used to do that on banjo, and I never heard anybody do it on guitar except Rice one time at a live, it was actually at a bluegrass festival. And I didn't know that, I don't know where he got it from, but it's a lot like the banjo lick I did. But this video is featured on a bunch of tips and tricks that I've learned in the last year since I started playing. I started a year ago this month, in January, in fact, of '09. And I'm almost coming up on a year toward the end of this month. And I've learned more about guitar and a lot of little tricks and just things that I didn't know before, because I never played guitar that much before. And I wanted to share a few of those with you. Maybe some of you know them and maybe not. Some of them I got from Rice, directly from Rice, so I know that they're true. Actually, it was Rice's wife that passed the information back and forth, but I got the information I needed, and I learned a lot of things from him and from a lot of other guitar players. And I'd like to share some of those things with you now. Like I say, I'm going to show you that one lick a little later on, but right now I want to talk about some tips and some tricks that I've noticed with other guitar players, playing around other guitar players and talking to them, and just things that I've picked up over this past year that I didn't know before. You see, a lot of people holds the guitar differently, and I should maybe talk about the construction of the guitar. This whole front piece that you see here is usually considered the soundboard. So there, you're going to have some background noise. I hope that's okay. You can look over. Anyway, this is all considered the soundboard, the saddle. The soundboard actually is what mainly produces the sound. The bracing inside of the guitar will affect the sound. I've got a lot of emails on some of my videos that I have certain sounds on this guitar, and it's been modified so much, as you can see from some of the sound hole for one. But guitars they're like people. They all have a different personality, so to speak, and they need to be handled differently to get the proper sound out of them, the sound that they are capable of. So this particular guitar and many others I've noticed are different, but it sort of all falls back to the same category as well. So what I'm talking about here is the way you hold your guitar when you play, especially in bluegrass music, in live jam sessions, and with a lot of other musicians, you tend to get kind of loud. They tend to get kind of loud, and sometimes they forget to back off when a guitar break comes up. Myself, I pick very hard. It's just a habit that I got into playing banjo, and I play very hard anyway, loud. I need a fret job now. Some of you have mentioned in previous videos. Yeah, I've got a little buzzing going on in some places. I'm talking about sound here, and tips and tricks to get the best sound out of your guitar and the best volume out of it without having to work yourself to death, which is what a lot of guitar players have to do to be heard, depending on the quality of musicians they're playing with and how many and where you're at, what kind of acoustic effects you get in a room or whatever. But in a lot of jam sessions with no PA system, and you have a lot of people playing, it's often hard to hear the guitar player when he picks if everyone doesn't back off and give him that opportunity to be heard. So little things I've picked up from several players is a lot to do with the way you hold your guitar. Going back to the soundboard, for instance. This is spruce. Most of them are some type of spruce wood. The way you hold this guitar affects the sound, of each guitar, every guitar. I I don't know how well you can hear this on videotape. I see a lot, about 90% of players rest their arm here, their right arm and hand, on the front of the soundboard. And, you know, that's, I guess, the way they learn to play. I've got my arm again, mine, the way most people play, the way I play, too. I don't know if you can hear this on videotape, if the camera will actually pick it up or not, but this is with my arm again. And when I raise my arm, listen to the difference in the... Can you hear that? And a lot of people kind of brush their wrist on the saddle back here, on the pins. That's even worse, really. Touching the pins and the soundboard now. Hear the difference when I let off of it. It's a much more mellower sound. It's not really brighter. It's well, it's a little brighter, but it's a lot louder. Touching the soundboard, touching the saddle, the pins. I'm just touching them. I'm not really putting a lot of pressure on them. I can show you, say on the third string, I got two fingers again, the soundboard here against the pick guard. I don't know if you can hear this on camera or not. Here where I am, I hear a major difference in just the timbre of that string. Going back to the soundboard up here again with your arm. Like I say, I see a lot of players that just, they rest their arm against the soundboard, or they actually hold the guitar kind of tight with a lot of pressure on that soundboard. This is touching the soundboard with my arm. I'm not touching the saddle or the pins. Can you hear that open up? This is touching the soundboard. Major difference. I hope this camera's picking this up, because I don't know if you're going to hear this difference or not, but try it on your own guitar. Lay your arm on there and press again it, or however you play, and see just you know, how it sounds, and then try to let off of it and see if you hear any difference in there. All the difference in the world.